Hi, everybody. It's Dennis, the active trend trader. Are you one of the traders who has a difficult time finding great growth stocks to trade every weekend? Well, we've got the answer. Welcome to How to Make Money Trading Stocks and Options. We're going to cover three things. Our panel of expert traders has picked out three top shelf growth stocks that are setting up and ready potentially to trade next week. Number two, an analysis of the indexes showing which ones are strongest, which ones are weakest, and what the potential is for a move next week. And then we'll also cover another trading problem or issue that you may be having, and we'll provide an answer to that will help you, one, maximize your profits and minimize your losses. So let's get into today's session right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilburn, the Active Trend Trader. I want to welcome you to How to Make Money Trading Stocks and Options plus Trading Tips. If you're joining us on YouTube Live, you're going to want to stay on to the end. I've got a what I think is a really good surprise for you. I wanted to cover for you, but if I told you what it is right now, it wouldn't be a surprise. We've got great stocks identified for today. From our elite panel of stock pickers. I've got Steve Ferreira from here on Oahu and Anil Parikh from Delaware. And gentlemen, welcome.
You're good to be here.
And likewise.
And so let's get into today because the market's doing a little bit of wonky stuff here. And you may want to be perhaps looking at for some downside opportunities with the market, but it could be also just a pullback. So remember, plan, patience, persistence, and profits. That's what that leads to. With the active trend trading, what we do is basically it's a proven, clear, and simple system. I trade primarily on our what we call our autopilot trading service. We trade both stocks, ETFs, and some options in there. It's focused on helping you trade your way to wealth and financial freedom. My objective every year is to do 40% per year ROI with a win-loss ratio of at least 65%. We've done a really good job on that. My average over the last 10 years has been 36+%. And so we want to continue that on. Where are we sitting at but for this session, what we do is we just cover three strong stocks that have met the selection criteria of either Steve, Anil, or myself, and we present them to you as, these are things we're looking at getting into coming up into next week. So market index review is we'll get into here shortly, stock picks for the week, and then a stock setup, checkups and or setups. So remember, learn to focus on the process. The profits will follow. And as we like to always provide our disclaimer, all materials presented are for training purposes. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. And here's where we're sitting here's where we sat last week. We're down up about 23% for the year. We are now beating all the indexes as we tend to do every year with the compounding effect. And took another nice jump this past week with the selections. So I didn't even have a full. I did not have all my positions filled this week. But at the same time, still moving in the proper direction. That means I'm about 15% away from meeting my objective for the year. We're beating the S&P by almost 5%. So let's get into the indexes themselves and see what they are telling us. I will not start with the Qs, although we will come back to the Qs. Earlier today, the indexes were showing us something really kind of interesting I thought it was fairly interesting, is that it appears as if we may be at least topping, and that is way too big. Hold on a second. There we go. Smaller arrow right there. We appear like we're topping back into the S&P, at least back into a level of resistance that was set by the high back in this area here, and that was back in the early September timeframe. So we've made a complete, but at the same time, this is an excellent cup in an uptrend. So how do you want to trade it? Well, that's an excellent question. One of the things we can do, and I would suggest you do this, is let me get rid of this Fibonacci for the time being. Let's remove that, make it a little bit more clear. I have identified levels of support based on past breakouts and past levels. What I can do is I can take this uptrend line, and I can either draw another one from this low here. I like that low here. I can either draw another one from that low there and just bring it up through those lows right there. And in actuality, that's a little bit more of a gradual incline that I like a little bit better than the one that I saw over here, because we broke this, we broke back down. And so we can lay that in there as a dynamic level of support. And let me highlight that and just pull it up just a taste. And a taste more. There we go. There we go. There we go. And so eyeballing that in there. And so we can utilize that uptrend line as a level of support where we could basically fall back down to that. But basically what it tells us, as long as that uptrend line stays intact without being violated, our primary underlying is up and to the right. Again, this would be an ideal place to basically give us a pullback into the moving averages and then bounce from there. So that's what I'm seeing for the S&P. Longer term on the weekly, as you can see, the TSI bounced right up the zero line, and the TSI has gotten up in the upper reversal on the daily chart. And then along with the market forecast momentum, especially the green line. One of the things, if you trade the Thinkorswim platform, you can utilize this market forecast. I really like it because it gives us, once that green line crosses above the 20, normally that is a green light to go ahead and be in a buy mode. When it crosses below the 80 level up here, that's typically a place to either start looking to take profits, and or if you do trade to the downside, great place to look at trading to the downside. So that's what we're looking at on that. Qs, let's take a look at the Qs real quick. As you can see, well, interesting how those lines all stayed in the same place. As you can see, Qs, weaker than S&P, hasn't reached up into the earlier highs. And so there's a couple of Fibonacci's we can lay on here. If we put a Fibonacci from this level down to this level, this puts us up to about the 78% retracement. However, right now, I'm interested in one that is more along the lines of this pullback here. If this is a temporary, a higher high, where is it likely to pull back to? Now, you can do that in a couple of ways. I could just run a straight Fibonacci from this low here up to this high, and then look at the 38 to 62.8 retracement, or I can grab this line and do an extension. And if we hit symmetry, this measures for symmetry, and oftentimes our price action is symmetrical. And I pull that back up to that level there and try to get it to stick. There we go. And so what this shows us is, let me grab is the 100% symmetric move to the downside here would put us down at this level right there. And if you look to the left, what do you have? That is at the beginning or around a zone of resistance. And if we put it all the way across, our support in this case, draw it all the way across, There was a big gap down and a bunch of stuff over here. And so that area has been hit in the past for a level of, what I want to do here, there we go. As I said, it's been used in the past as a level of support. However, what we could hit is just get down here to the 78% move down, and that would be at this level here. The magic fib box, actually, the lower part of it is at the breakout area about the 371.96, 372 level. So I would like to, as I said, I would like to see a nice controlled pullback into those levels of support. The TSI looks like it's starting to break down. It has not crossed to the downside. So one of the things to pay attention to, guys, is oftentimes the TSI will give you I call either a bearish or a bullish squeeze. If it doesn't cross to the downside today, this could in fact be a bullish squeeze, and we could press on to higher highs. So just be aware of that. Again, I like this. And again, it's defining where I'm interested in, getting into the entity. And where is that? It's down here around between $370, $368, and $365, somewhere in that box right there. So that's what I've got going for the Qs. IWM is right up there at the top of its zone that we have identified in the past. It has been driving sideways ever since February. The zone is the range here, the horizontal range is tradable, and it's a nice move from the lows to the highs. Approximately, let's grab this from here to here is about, as you see, that's about if I get all the way up to there, that's about 8.8%. If you multiply that out and are trading the TNA, which is doing a similar type of approach, you can see here, TNA, something similar. It's going from here up to, up to about, we could go all the way up to there. But you see, that's about a 30% move. And so at this particular point, it's at its high, and so we may be stalling out for a move back down. But again, I'm looking to trade to the upside on every one of the indexes. With that said, though, I'm also looking that there may be a short-term opportunity to trade it to the downside into its next, its low level of support, and that's a choice that everybody has to make on their own, whether or not they would want to do that. Be aware, if you are trading to the downside, the moves to the downside tend to happen really, really fast, quickly, and then you get a rebound and then you get a rebound from there, and so normally what you can look at, what's it been doing? We've been going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days up, 1, 2, 3, kind of 3 days down, and then we start mixing around. And so typically 5 days up, 3 days down, 5 days up, 2 days down, or even 4 days up and 3 days down. It looks like it's working around a kind of a seven day cycle. And so that's what I've got. That's what I've got, guys. What's your thoughts? Again, I'm waiting to trade to the upside, but it's got to have a pullback.
Mm-hmm. I pretty much agree with what you're saying. I come at it a little differently than you do, but we're saying I see this pretty much agree with your outlook on the market. I think you trade the chart. The chart we're due for a pullback. We've got in the SPY, we've got 7 up closes in a row. That's very rare. So a little bit of a pullback would not be a surprise, but how deep it is, to the extent of that pullback, that's what we don't know. It could just go sideways. It could go down a little. It could go down a lot, and you need to be prepared for all those scenarios. I
Yeah,
don't know what it's going to do.
I agree. Anil?
Yeah.
No, I think my system is saying everything is on the go right now. So until
Okay.
I get
Yeah,
a
I'm very bullish in outlook. You know, today we made an intraday all-time high,
Yeah.
and yesterday we had a closing high.
Yep.
It's a very bullish situation,
Oh yeah.
but it doesn't go up in a straight line, and that's what you do with.
And so let's see. Barry asked a question: downside trade shorting. No, I don't short the indexes, Barry. What I do is because one is what I'll look to do is I will look to trade the inverse leverage ETF to the downside, and or I will do a bearish option trade. Good question. Good question.
Yeah, and the other thing I don't do is I like to short. I don't do it that often, but I don't like to short stocks when they are in uptrends.
Oh yeah, no,
When
I agree
the trend
wholeheartedly.
rolls over, then I will certainly look at shorts.
Yep. And that's where that's where utilizing like the TSI and the market forecast for your momentum. If the momentum doesn't shift to the downside, and that's defined by getting a crossover of for me, it's the crossover of the TSI to the downside. And I would like to see some closing below some moving averages. And that's what I kind of like to see. Leverage are 1 time. I go with the leverage, Barry. I go with the 3 times leverage. But you can do the other way too. And that's one of the things we do, Barry. I don't know if you are a member of the Autopilot Trading Service or not, but I cover that every weekend, and we provide typically 2 trades setups per week on that service, plus 5 stock setups. And so, okay, that's what we got. Hey, okay, let's jump into. I'm sitting there looking at. I'm looking at the Qs here. Qs are looking pretty good again. And I agree with Steve. I like to use my Fibonacci's. I like to use the past levels of where support has been, because there's a tendency for price actions to pull back into those areas. And so there's a high probability that where's it going to go? It's going to basically pull back into a level where it found support before. That's just, we've seen that happen through the history of the market, and it tends to repeat itself again and again and again and again. And that's where I'll show you just one repetition here is basically this move from I want to do this. Yeah, this move from here to here. And if I pull that back down to the low there, well, look at this. As again, I expect the move back up to stay within the red line, which is a 100% symmetric move. This level here, which is the 1272, and this level here, which is the 78. And sure enough, price action stayed within there, and then did a retracement. Now, in this particular case, it reversed back to the upside, which is a good thing. So, okay, that's what. Okay, here we go. Who went? I think Steve. I think Anil went first last week, right?
Can't remember. You asking me? It's a tough question. To think back 7 days.
You guys have slept since then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this one is Steve's, guys.
Okay, this is Upstart. It's a relatively new company. IBD 50. It's been an IBD 50, one of the strong performers on the IBD 50. It's in a weekly trend. It's very strong, and we're undergoing so far a 4-day pullback. I don't like the low volume today, so I will not take the trade today, but I'd be looking probably for an entry on Monday if it plays out on a trade on price action above today's low. I'm sorry, today's high.
Okay.
It's a reversal kind of a bar, but I'd like to see more volume.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. But you are getting a low volume pullback, which is positive.
Which is very positive, yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's going to stop here. It could go on down for a few more bars.
Yeah.
Although I think it will bounce on Monday. If it bounces and we trade higher, I will enter long. And if I do that, then today's low will be the stop.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm just sitting there looking at again. Right now, the short-term momentum is down, but that's just, and it's just going along with but at the same time, it's above the major moving averages, which is the 20, the 34, the 50, certainly the 100, and certainly the 200. So I like this entity. I also like it for a potential.
Yeah. Let
me get rid of that.
It's not so close, but it's certainly going to affect the trade. Probably put a floor on the trade until earnings is announced.
Yeah, but at the same time, what you may be looking at is earnings are on the 9th of November after the market closes. And so we may get a setup going into the, towards the end of next week. Sure. That would give you a pre-earnings run, and it could run 10+%. And it is an optionable. It has weekly options, and so this could be, as I say, muy bueno. And it's got okay open interest. So okay, cool. Yeah. Now, Anil, ACN.
Yeah, the chart.
Here it comes.
Nice.
Heck of a nice breakout. Are you buying today, or are you going to wait for it to come back?
Now, I'm going to ask you that question in a minute, but the history is my system gave me a buy signal actually right about 4 days ago. And I had picked it up right at the pullback when you see the red arrow on the daily.
Red arrow on
the not red arrow, just 2 days ago. When you see right there.
Right there. Excellent.
And that's where I picked it according to the system. Now it has gone up quite a bit today.
Yeah.
So, but it's still within the IBD buy range. If you look at, I usually don't buy breakouts. I want to buy it just before the breakout. But this has broken out, but it's still within IBD buy range. So.
Oh yeah, it's only up from its. Well, if I go straight to the breakout, which would be that right there, it's within 2.5% of the breakout. So,
according to, if you put a Fibonacci on this thing, where would you buy it? If you,
looking at it, I mean, you basically did just an absolute spot on job. If you're already in this. Is basically you had your breakout, and about 75% of all breakouts are followed up with a 78% of all breakouts are followed up with a pullback towards the breakout area. You got that there, and I don't know if you floated a conditional order just to buy it right there, or you're watching the screen, but the dynamite place to jump in now. Where's the next level? And I think there's a couple, and I will throw a fib on here shortly. Let me grab this. You've got a level of support that is about, it's not exact. That's not exact.
Close enough.
It's right, more like that, because we've had a secondary breakout now. So that's one area where you could look at taking a position. So that would be a pullback into the midsection of today's candlestick, which would be about 351 or so. Now, what if I was to lay a fib on this? Hold on just a sec. And I can basically take the fib from this low to that high. Now, there we go. That gives us an idea. And as you can see, there's a 78% retracement back into that area. And then here's the lower retracement, which also was a breakout move. into that area there. So, somewhere between, 346, and you've got a nice little gap window there. So you're looking, that is 348 is a really, somewhere between let me give you a number, 351 or 350 down to 348 would be a target area to enter. You've got okay volume going in. So that's the way I would look at that from a perspective of how to trade it now.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's good.
The other thing you need to be aware of is, let's throw on one more fib, and then I'll put my fibs away. Look how pretty this is. Now, from a straight Fibonacci extension perspective, you have hit your first expected target, which is the 1272. Now, the next target, if we close above that level, the next level is up here at the 363, which is the 1618. So that is the next level. I would look at, again, I don't know if your sell rules are to get out a certain percentage, but I would certainly look for any kind of softness if we get up here at the 618. The next move above that, of course, is all the way back where it is. This green line is 100% extension of this move here and back up. So that would be up at about 374. And from where it's at right now, or from your breakout area, that 374 would be, that's an 8% move. Excellent.
Nice pick, Anil.
Thank you.
I like it. Yeah. So, okay, my turn. Mara, M-A-R-A. And if you are looking for the cryptos are kind of waking up a little bit. This is a crypto mining company, and it mines primarily in blockchain. And so what I'm looking at this is I'm looking for a pullback into this level here. I've redefined it and said, okay, this is the purple is the magic fib box, but it also is right close to my past breakout. And so I'm looking for somewhere around the 4657 down to the green line, which is at 4351. My TSI is breaking down, and that's okay. That happens when you get one of these pullbacks. There are two levels of support to look at for the TSI. One is about 20. The other one is at the 0 line. We would like those to stay intact to then rebound back up. This may, at the same time, with the cross of the TSI and the market forecast pointing down, I'm not ready to jump in the trade yet until I have a reversal candlestick, which may happen today, but I would prefer to have it down in that zone down here, somewhere between, I would say, the $45 level. And so, yeah, the $45 level and the, what's that number there? And the 4351 level. So this is the one I'm liking, guys.
Looks good.
Good. Looks good.
I like the structure of the trade. You'll know very soon, one way or the other.
Yeah, you definitely will. And so now I don't know if you guys took a chance to go over and look at the video I put up on my YouTube channel, Market Tech Talk. I was talking about BITO, BITO. That is the IPO that just came out for Bitcoin, and it's Bitcoin futures is what it's based off of. And so I was taking a look at this, and it is not your typical IPO. Now, normally with an IPO, I know IBD has its rules about how to trade the IPOs and all that kind of stuff. And normally you don't do it within 4 days. You just don't. You stay away from it until you have a legitimate IPO pattern. However, with that said, Bitcoin it has a pattern of its own. And one of the things, and you can go look at the Bitcoin chart, which you can't get on or does anybody on Thinkorswim, does anybody know the ticker for Bitcoin?
I use Bitcoin futures, which is /BTC.
Which is what?
//BTC. But it's not Bitcoin itself, it's the futures
Right.
Being traded in Bitcoin.
But this is close enough to give us an idea. Actually, right. Especially for this one, Bitcoin futures, as you can see, the last 3 days, or actually 4 days, let's go back to BITO or BITO. Is it BITO or BITO? I don't know. I guess it would be BITO. As you can see, similar type shape of the last 4 days. Hence, I can go either to BTC. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Similar. Look for a setup on BTC and then go over and trade the ETF on BITO. I really like BITO. It has weekly options. The other thing you can take a look at is GBTO.
TC.
Sorry about that. C?
I believe so.
Yeah. And it shows something similar, but in reality, I kind of like the now that I'm looking at it, I kind of like the Bitcoin futures a little bit more, and it would be more reflective of what you could do with that ETF. So I just want to lay that out there. Is yeah, Phil, it is not, but you can again / /BTC. Is that right? No.
Yeah, / BTC.
Okay, so I wanted to share that with you because it's not your typical it's not your typical IPO, and let's see with GXBT. Yeah, that also is very, very similar. Rick, thank you. Very similar, and this is a. This is just the price index.
Yeah, okay. Oh, it's the Gemini. Okay.
And so, but the thing that again, like I like about it is, there are so many of the other Bitcoin or crypto stocks out there that don't have options attached, but BITO does have options attached, and they have filled up with open interest now that make them, really, really tight bid ask. And so that's the surprise I wanted to share with you, to say, hey, if you're looking to trade some crypto, or you want to be just investing a little bit as you go, buying a little bit of BITO, but wait for the pullback and wait for the setup is what I'm trying to say. So, Okay,
yeah,
let's go ahead and roll out the rest of this. Hey, if you're not an autopilot trading person, you need to be. I'll just put it that I send out 5 stocks and 7 ETFs every weekend to the autopilot trading folks. And this is how you become a member. Basically, the value is worth about $7,000 a year, but you can do it in 3 monthly payments of $333, or just get the full year for $997. So how are we doing here? We want to basically continue to push towards, it's almost time to start, it is time to start evaluating where you were in 2021 and what what changes you need to make to your trading going into 2022. Will 2022 remain the same type of trading as we had this year? You never know. And as Steve brought up last week, every year is different to some extent. Yeah. Just, continue to trade the stock that's, can trade the chart that's in front of you. So That's it for today. Premium members will be back at the top of the hour for the final hour. We'll be chatting about what we're currently in and setting up our trade management going into the weekend. And so, Steve and Anil, thank you so much for being there today. Thanks for your great stock picks.
Enjoyed it. And is it okay if I say something about Delaware meetup here?
You can. This is a perfect place.
Yeah, we have a meetup that's announced on the 4th of November. And
Okay.
Real breakthrough strategies, something very new we are going to share. So be there and benefit.
Okay. And Anil, if you could send me your meetup link.
Okay.
For that one. And what I'll do is, if you can send that to me today, I will post that along with the notification. And I'll also post it on my YouTube channel for where you can find out and give me your description of of that particular meetup. I would really appreciate it.
The simple theme is simplicity on the other side of complexity.
Simplicity on the other side of complexity. I like that. So, Steve, Steve, I'll just ask you, as long as we're talking meetups, any idea on doing anything here in Hawaii? I know that the governor still has this,
right,
under his steel boot, heavy thumb.
I've not heard anything about easing up yet, and I'm certainly not hearing it from any of the subscribers about getting back in time, getting back together in real time.
Yeah.
We'll play it by ear, but I would hope by the first of the year we'll be able to schedule something physically.
Okay. I sent him a picture of the Texas A&M and Alabama football game, where they had over 110,000 people there at the football game, to show him that this is what a college football game is supposed to look like. And I don't know if he appreciated it or not, but that's okay.
I suspect not.
Anyway, okay, everybody. Hey, have a really great rest of your day. And what city in Maryland? Barry wants to know. No, it was Delaware. Yeah.
Delaware. Yeah.
It's Delaware.
It's in Delaware, Barry.
Wilmington?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Wilmington. There you go. So, okay, guys, have a great rest of your day. And we will call it a day. Aloha.
Take care, Dennis.